Imagine being trapped upside down inside solid rock. Your arms are pinned, your chest is crushed, you can barely breathe. And the worst part? You're a medical student, which means you know exactly what your body is about to do. You know how you're going to die. Rescuers worked for 19 hours trying to pull him out, 100 people fighting to save one life. Then, suddenly, the bolt holding the rescue system snapped. Everything they gained was gone. Above ground, his pregnant wife was waiting, his young daughter was at home, and the only way to save him was a decision no one wanted to make. This is a true story. November 24th, 2009, Utah. John Edward Jones, 26 years old, medical student, married, father of a young daughter. His wife was pregnant with their second child. It was Thanksgiving weekend. He and his brother decided to visit Nutty Putty Cave, a popular cave system known for its narrow passages. Tight, challenging, but survivable. Hundreds of people had done it before. John was not reckless. He had caving experience. He knew what he was doing. But tight spaces fascinated him. There is something about squeezing through solid rock that feels like conquering something, until the rock decides to squeeze back. Nutty Putty had a famous passage called the Birth Canal, a narrow tunnel that cavers moved through on their stomachs. Tight, uncomfortable, but mapped. John believed he was entering that route. He was not. Instead, he entered an unmapped fissure, 18 inches wide, angled downward at nearly 70 degrees. The deeper he crawled, the tighter it became. But caves sometimes open up after a narrow section. You push through the tight part, and it widens on the other side. He assumed that would happen. He kept going. It did not happen. His weight shifted forward. His hand lost friction against the rock. The tunnel was angled too steeply. Gravity took over. He slid head first into a vertical crack in the earth. His arms pinned flat against his sides. His chest compressed by stone on both sides. His hips wedged, his feet above him, his head lower than his heart. He tried to inhale deeply. His lungs could not fully expand. He tried to push himself upward. There was no leverage, nothing to push against. He tried to reverse direction. His body was locked perfectly in place. Rescuers who arrived later said it best. He was shaped exactly to fit that crack, like a cork pressed into a bottle. But here is what most people don't think about. He was not just stuck. His body had been upside down for hours now, and the human body was never built for that. What was already happening inside him was a countdown, silent, invisible, unstoppable. And it had already started. John was a medical student. He understood the human body. He knew what inverted positioning does. Blood floods toward the head. Pressure builds inside the skull. The heart struggles to pump blood upward against gravity. The lungs compress under the weight of the abdominal organs, pushing down. Carbon dioxide builds in the blood. Breathing becomes shallow, then shallower. Panic increases the demand for oxygen, which makes everything worse, which increases the panic. He knew all of this. He understood exactly what was happening to his body in real time. That knowledge did not make it easier. It made it worse. But what happened when rescue finally arrived is the part nobody talks about, because they did not just fail once, they failed twice, and the second failure changed everything.
His brother reached him first, grabbed his legs, pulled. John didn't move an inch, not even slightly. The rock had him completely. Emergency services were called. Cave rescue teams arrived, then more teams, then more. Over 100 rescuers would eventually work that cave. But cave rescue is not fast. Nothing about it is fast. Every anchor must be drilled by hand into solid limestone. Every rope must be rigged precisely. Every movement coordinated between people who cannot always see each other underground. The cave was dark. The passages were narrow. Rescuers had to crawl on their stomachs just to reach him. Some could not fit at all. They built a pulley system, a mechanical advantage ratio of 3-to-1, meaning 3 feet of rope pulled to move John 1 foot upward. For hours they pulled, slowly, carefully, inch by inch. And John, upside down, chest compressed, blood pooling in his skull, talked to him the entire time. He stayed calm. He asked about his wife. He talked about being a better father. He apologized for causing trouble. Upside down, 80 feet underground, unable to breathe properly, he apologized. Hours passed. The rescue team worked through exhaustion. Fresh teams rotated in when others collapsed from fatigue. Outside, his wife was still waiting. His family was still waiting. The whole world above ground was still waiting. And inside, John was still talking, still calm, still holding on, which made what happened next even harder to accept. But I need you to understand something before we continue. At this point, John had been upside down for nearly 19 hours. 19 hours. His heart had been fighting gravity for 19 straight hours. Every single breath had been a struggle for 19 straight hours. And yet, he was still conscious, still speaking, still fighting. The rescuers were close. Everyone believed they were going to get him out. Everyone was wrong.
He had been upside down for hours, but he was still talking. That is the part that breaks you. Between the pulling and the waiting, rescuers would speak to him, and John would answer. He asked about his wife. Was she okay? Was she scared? He asked about his daughter, what she was doing, whether she knew what was happening. He told rescuers, "Tell her I love her, just in case." He knew what just in case meant. He was a medical student. He understood his own body better than anyone in that cave. And still, he did not scream. He did not beg. He did not fall apart. He just kept asking about his family. Above ground, his pregnant wife sat outside the cave entrance, waiting, listening to updates that kept saying, "We are close, we are almost there, just a little longer." She had been sitting there for hours, in the cold, alone with her fear, with a child growing inside her who did not yet know that their father was trapped in the earth below them. And John, 80 feet underground, had no idea how long she had been waiting. He just knew she was there, and that was enough to keep him going. One of the rescuers later said, "The hardest part was not the physical work. The hardest part was talking to a man who was slowly running out of time and pretending you couldn't see it." But then, something changed in the cave, a sound, a shift, and every rescuer felt it before they understood it. Something was about to go very wrong. After nearly 19 hours underground, they had moved him several feet upward, enough that the end felt close, enough that rescuers prepared for the final pull. Then, an anchor boat failed. The rock around it had been too weak. The pulley system snapped loose. John dropped, back down into the crevice, harder than before, deeper than before, every foot of progress gone. The cave fell silent. No one spoke, because everyone standing in that cave understood exactly what that drop had just done to a body that had already been inverted for 19 hours. After 20 hours, his breathing weakened. After 24, his responses slowed. Prolonged inversion does things to the body that cannot be reversed by willpower. The heart cannot maintain cardiac output against gravity indefinitely. Organs swell. Circulation deteriorates. The brain, flooded with blood for nearly a full day, begins to fail. After 28 hours underground, John Jones went into cardiac arrest. Rescuers tried to reach him. The space was too tight, too unstable, too dangerous to attempt. He was pronounced dead inside the cave. Retrieval was attempted. It was deemed too dangerous to continue. The Nutty Putty Cave was permanently sealed. The entrance was filled with concrete. John Jones remains there today. His wife, the woman who sat outside that cave for hours in the cold, lost her husband and her unborn child's father in the same moment. She didn't just lose a husband. She lost the person who was supposed to be there when their second child opened their eyes for the first time. That child never got to meet him. The cave that took him became the place he was laid to rest. He was 26 years old. His daughter was young. His second child, the one his wife was carrying that Thanksgiving weekend, never met their father. John Jones did everything right. He stayed calm. He endured. He never gave up. And it still wasn't enough. So tell me, if it was you, would you have survived that long?